Army of the friggin' Dead now, guy. Zack Snyder is a controversial guy, man.
Yeah.
We've been talking about the guy for years. Fandom doesn't seem to ever let up on talking about the guy, and mostly it's hate.
Mad hate.
Somewhere along the way, people decided to hate Zack Snyder, and no matter what he did or how good it was, they were going to just hate on him. You know? And we were never on that boat. We judge accordingly. If it's good, it's good. If it's not, it's not. Just so happens he's tickled our pickles all these years. We're Snyder-ites.
Mm-hmm.
Army of the Dead is the second movie this year, technically, I guess, if you count Zack Snyder's Justice League, not released this year. So it's a big year, you might say, for old Snidey. Now, the Justice League did a lot to kind of change certain people's point of view. People still mad hating, but maybe that's less of an edge to the hate now because they were like, you know what, that was pretty good. Some of them are just not going to let up.
Yeah.
So you might say that Army of the Dead was his chance to go, look, here's something different. Not different necessarily, but here's something that's original. It's not based on anything, but I made it. Judge me. It's kind of a pseudo clean slate, if you will, although not because he has, famously directed another zombie movie, Dawn of the Dead, the remake from back in the 2000s.
Return to his roots, basically.
Yeah, sort of return to his roots, but also a chance to kind of go. Here's Snyder on a clean on the plate for you. You know, the other time he did that was Sucker Punch, and he got Sucker Punch in the nuts before it even hit theaters. Yeah. So, what's the verdict? Is Army of the Dead gonna convince some people that hey, maybe he's not such a bad guy, which we've been saying all along. In fact, we've been saying he rocks. But apparently, according to the critics, as I see in the tomatoes that are rotten, it's like at a 70% or so. So this might be one of his better rated movies because they always seem to just torpedo them to hell. That's the critics, but we're a couple of fat lards in a room full of detritus. What do we say? This is, I don't know. I'm gonna get what's your takeaway, guy? Before we get into the minutia? What's your takeaway? Where are you at with this? With this Army of the Dead?
It's definitely a strange movie.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it. I'll say that.
Sounds convincing.
Yeah.
I don't know what to think about this movie, to be honest with you. I'm not 100% sure I like it. I don't hate it. I know that. There's a lot of cool shit in it. But I think it's a movie that I'm going to have to rewatch. Because honestly, after watching it for the first time, I'm kind of like, what the hell was some of that shit? What am I looking at?
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. You might be surprised. Some of the weird shit that's just in terms of the writing and cinematically speaking, I actually kind of like. For example, this movie... Oh, wait, well, before we get into it, just a long story short here, the movie, if you don't know what it's about, if you haven't seen the 1 million trailers, basically a group of people have to perform a heist before a zombie-infested Las Vegas is nuked out of existence. That's the long story short. There's a lot of little things here and there that we'll talk about. But anyway, there's some really weird elements in this movie.
Very weird.
And I kind of like a lot of those things. I think what really bothers me about this movie is several things that are not the weirder elements, surprisingly. One is pacing. It's a very oddly paced movie. That's the safest word I can use. I'm not saying it's badly paced. It's just like sometimes you're like, what the fuck? What's going on here? That's one. Two, I think there's a weird kind of like obtuseness to the, I guess, emotional aspects of certain characters that I just quite didn't believe. Especially when we're coming to the Dave Bautista's character and his relationship with his daughter. I just feel that it just didn't feel convincing to me. It felt a little bit heavy-handed, and it's kind of like an important part of the whole affair. And it feels like there's chunks of this movie missing.
Yeah, it really does.
It feels like there's big chunks of this movie.
It's weird.
Like there's this part when they get into Vegas and they have to go through buildings as to not attract random ass fucking shamblers, they call them. But they go through a building full of zombies, of course, so that's the best way to keep out of it, right? But anyway, they go through this building, and then, stuff happens in the building. But the point is, there's like no transitional scene between that and the next scene where they're just like, here we are in the middle of Vegas, and it kind of feels like there was something missing there. But I think there's several moments like that, but I think the biggest moment is where this group of people is cobbled together by Dave Bautista's character, and there's people that he knows or people that the people he knows know. But there's one character among them that's sent with them by the people that hire him to go and extract this money. And he's kind of the guy that that's going to fuck them over. Well, there's a sequence where all of a sudden it's like, I guess this character made some sort of deal with this other character, and they're doing this thing with retrieving a Shambler's head. And it just felt like there was no like, I'm going to do this scene. And you don't need that if the dialogue's good, but it just felt so abrupt. Like, I was like, is there something missing here?
Yeah, I thought that
if it weren't so obvious, it almost felt confusing. If it weren't so obvious,
it did seem like they did mention it in the previous scene, and I just missed it. But that was just
they
me.
Definitely
like,
didn't.
Did I just miss something?
Yeah, they definitely didn't. I went back and checked. That's why I was like, what the fuck? It just feels like there's chunks of this movie again. It's so common sense. It's a zombie movie at the end of the day. So common sense that you just know, and again the dialogue does say it, just doesn't say it convincing. But it just feels like, what the fuck? How do we get from they're kind of at odds with each other to, oh, I'm doing this thing now, that somewhere along the way between them dispatching you to go guard the place, and now we've decided, like, I'm helping you do this thing, and there was something about vials of blood. Oh no, I'm getting ahead now. It's just weird. Like, it's just such a sudden leap, and you're like, okay, that's a thing that happened. But anyway, that's the biggest one. But there's several. It just feels like the transitions between certain scenes don't flow as well, and I don't know if that's because there was parts of the movie that aren't in here or not. Snyder has been edited to hell and back before.
Well, we can confirm for sure that this is his cut. He said it is his cut, and they said it is his cut. There is no alternate cut.
I don't know, man. It still feels like there's fucking big ass chunks of this shit missing. It was released for a theatrical cut. I mean, for the theaters. So I don't know, but none of that stuff really essential. Like gore or something like that would give it an NC-17 or something. So I don't know, man. I don't know what the fuck, but it feels that way for sure. In certain parts,
it does, and it's. I agree. I just said that because that's what they said, and that's what he said. But it is strange because we know that that's what he does so well, explaining shit and transitioning between shit, and that's why it stands out so much.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that is weird.
It also feels, and I don't know if you'll agree with this, like this is a sequel to a movie we never saw. Now, I obviously by default of the setup. We understand that this movie is taking place a number of years, maybe months. I don't even know, really, to be honest with you, months or whatever the fuck after Las Vegas gone to hell and back, basically with the zombie infestation. And we see in the credit sequence these characters and what they did heroically within the confines of the Vegas during the outbreak. So obviously, these characters come with baggage and a history, yes, but this still feels like a sequel to a movie that we needed to see instead of just seeing a few brief things. Like just the mere fact that these characters are in a bad situation, the whole idea of like these were heroes, American heroes basically, that are now getting shafted by their people and their government, and they're reduced to working menial jobs. That's pretty cool. That's the type of shit George Romero would put in a zombie movie. Except they never really followed through with any of it wholeheartedly. And it feels like it would have been important to see them do all that stuff, not just brief glimpses of the stuff. Fair enough, we don't get that, but we do get like kind of like that synopsis version of it in the things. But it just still feels like a sequel to a movie we never saw. Also, on the note of George A. Romero, there are certain like social commentary pieces in this, but those kind of feel abandoned too. There's kind of like an analogous parallel between the immigration situation and what's going on here in this separatist world between the zombie, the zombie Vegas and America, and the in between, the internment camps and all that shit where possibly infected people are just a parallel to the way the whole immigration crisis has been taken. Has been handled. But it feels like they just kind of forget that stuff sometimes. Actually, like, it just feels like they forgot all about it by the time they're in Vegas proper, I was like, okay, that would have been cool. It feels like, I don't know if maybe there was supposed to be something more there, maybe not, I don't know. But it does feel like they just let that drop, which is a shame because that's a really cool analogy. And I'm not saying it should have been there 24/7. I'm just saying, like, why bring it in if you're not going to pick up on it a little bit more here and there every now and then. So, yeah, that was kind of disappointing too. But some of the weirder stuff I did like, of course, everybody knows about the zombie tiger, do animals get zombified is always a thing that's been questioned in zombie movies. That's cool. And the movie does that a lot with other stuff. Like, Romero toyed with the idea of intelligent zombies for the longest time, and eventually he got there. This movie gets there from basically the get-go, and it does it in another way that a lot of genre fiction toyed with, but never 100% maybe went there all the time. And it's giving you an explanation of how this even started, it's kind of cool that they don't explicitly say it, but basically these zombies were caused by aliens. They're kind of like the result of some sort of crossbreed hybridization or some bullshit like that. And that's very, very much never outright said. It's more like toyed with in dialogue and stuff. But then you get this one scene that, again, is something you don't really see in zombie movies, with the dead giving birth, basically, where it's like, okay, this is where we're definitely at. I wasn't just tripping on, thinking that that's what they were suggesting. And of course, one thing I think they actually handled pretty well that some people might think is too weird is the idea of zombies having a society and a hierarchy of power and all that shit. I thought that shit was really cool, and the fact that there's a reason for that is good, because otherwise, if there wasn't that reason, that being the alien thing, then maybe it would have just come off as super stupid. I thought that stuff was really cool, even though it was really left field and strange. So I like that, what I'm saying, which some people may not. I don't know if that's the weird stuff that you kind of are at odds with.
No, I like all that weird shit. It was very strange.
What are some things you were at odds with?
I kind of agree with you on the stuff you said. I don't think that, like, the stuff with the immigration stuff, I don't think that was a huge problem with me, because I felt that could have been a little heavy-handed if it had gone a little too much, but at the same time, why even put it in there?
Yeah, exactly.
It was a neat idea that they kind of
abandoned,
that they used a little bit, but it didn't really go.
There's a way to do it subtly too. Like Day of the Dead keeps its thematic straight throughout, but they're never like, this is what this is about. I'm talking the Romero Day of the Dead, obviously not the shit ass ones that followed. It's thematic are throughout, but they're ingrained into the story. Here they explicitly mention it, and then just kind of like, whatever, it's a thing we mentioned. And it was, but my problem with this is that it's just a cool metaphor to make, and a relevant one right now, and they just kind of drop it, which kind of sucks. But anyway, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I don't think that's what they were going for is the thing. I think maybe it was just like a nod maybe to the roots of the Romero-verse, and that is such an important part of his zombie vision, the political stuff. So maybe that's what it was trying to be. Because once you get into the Vegas stuff, all that stuff is dropped. Later you get some comedic stuff, like when you get the president talking about dropping the nuke and it being totally cool. You know, it's basically that, but it's funny.
Yeah, but see, there are moments where you're like, okay, was this supposed to be a through line or not?
I don't think it is. I think it's just meant to be. It's I saw someone say it's kind of tonally confused, and I kind of see that.
Definitely that. Especially on the emotional spectrum, like they go from like an action movie to like a straight up zombie movie to this weird stuff to like all of a sudden we're like in this dramatic scene that doesn't, in my opinion, doesn't really work, and so then there's some comedy and stuff like that, you know, and you could see some of it works and some of it doesn't. Is the weird thing together, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. The thing is, I like a lot of it.
Yeah, that's like, what's I guess confusing about it.
A huge part of this movie I really, really enjoyed, but it just doesn't mesh well completely.
I think you will agree with this though. Replacing Chris D'Elia with Tig was a great choice.
Oh, Tig guy.
Tig's my girl. I'm just gonna say Tig Meister.
The notorious Tig.
Yeah.
is in this. Yeah, Tig's pretty great. Tig is an impressive effect. Apparently, they had to like completely replace D'Elia.
Yeah.
So it is noticeable here and there, like especially like in the wider shots where, you know, she's in with all the other people. You can kind of tell that she's CGI'd in basically, but she looks pretty good. You know, considering that they had to literally CGI her in.
Cool little miracles with her.
Yeah. And I like Tig. I'm a Tig fan.
There's a part of this movie that feels almost like, you know, oh man, that's really kicking my balls, man. It's kicking my balls, boy. Because okay, you know, the disenfranchised American is definitely a theme that they abandoned. That's without a doubt, because that's what all the characters you're supposed to care about are. You know, Bautista's character, Ana, whatever the fuck her name is. You know, the black guy. Sorry, I don't remember character names in general the first time I viewed something. But anyway, they're all like these disenfranchised Americans that were kind of shafted by the system, if you will. So we see them in their element outside of after being these heroes, and then they decide to go back just to get some for themselves. You know, that's something that I think, you know, with soldiers coming back and just, you know, we've heard this story and it's cool and it's a cool element and stuff. So these characters have. That's why we give a shit about these characters, I guess. You know, and I don't know, man. Sometimes they introduce shit that you're like, what the fuck? And for me, one of the biggest problems was, I forgot her name, Ella Purnell, the chick that plays David Bautista's daughter. Her character is, I don't know, man. Maybe it's just me, but I fucking hated her character. Like, she is just obnoxiously selfish. And I don't know if she was supposed to be or not. I mean, to some degree, obviously, she's clashing with her father, obviously. But I don't know if, God, I don't know if she was supposed to be this selfish, because she's being portrayed as selfless. She wants to go back into Vegas to save people that she cares for, but all her actions just come off as selfish, because she's putting all these people in the line of danger, in the line of fire, if you will. And her clashes with her father are, and yes, this is true of real life. You know, we're so heated and self-important that we forget to consider those around us. But holy shit, man, there's literal fucking zombies and you're doing this bullshit. And it just happens so often with her character. I was just like, God, Lee, man. She was like the least credible character for me in this fucking movie. And she's kind of an important part for me. And I hated her on top of that. You know, and she's not a bad actress, you know, but none of that stuff. It's just the character fucking sucked my nuts dry, man. So, I don't know, man. I don't know if I can get over that particular hill, but she was definitely a problem for me, her character and stuff like that. But anyway,
she is the cause of pretty much all the problems at the end.
And that kind of feels also reductory. Like, what are you trying to say with this character? But also, if you're trying to say something good, holy shit, is she just a fucking problem, a pariah, really? I don't know, man. I have to kind of like, I don't know if a second viewing is gonna save her for me, but whatever the fuck. The point is, she was a big problem. But her aside, when we see these disenfranchised Americans, or American in the case of Bautista, get his team together. There's a moment where this movie feels like, holy shit, this is going to be like Aliens. A bunch of fucking badasses doing their thing. And you know what? 100% I would be okay with them abandoning some of the themes they set up if that was the case. Because that's awesome. Who doesn't want to see cool ass badasses kick zombie ass? And it almost immediately drops you on that, because you don't really get to see that most of the time, you know. You do get to see them do stuff, but not in the way that is suggestively promised. You know what I'm saying? Like the black guy. You know, we saw him when he first was in Vegas. You know, he was this badass saw blade wielding macho dude, and here he rarely does anything at all, and then that's it. Well, we'll talk about what he does end up doing, but you know what I'm saying? Like that's it. You know, everybody's just headshot specialists, by the way, so you don't really get any cool zombie action in terms of gore and stuff. There's some cool gore scenes, don't get me wrong, but what the setup there suggest is like, oh, these badasses, they're gonna do badass things, and they do some badass things, but they also do a lot of not spectacular stuff or particularly interesting stuff either. So I don't know. That was kind of a bummer for me. But anyway.
I kind of disagree. I thought that most of them get cool things to do. Yeah, there's a lot of headshots, but they're also like, you know, have experience, so you kind of get it.
The daughter's headshotting guy.
Nah, she gets
mad headshots. She does
like 10,000 shots to kill one dude.
Nah, she's headshotting galore, guy.
Nah, homie. Anyway, there's like the Chola chick gets a cool action sequence. You know, there's cool scenes, man.
There's cool scenes. I'm just saying there's not enough cool scenes. You know, yeah, I agree. She was pretty cool, and then she dies, so that's cool.
Everybody dies.
Then everybody's just headshotting everybody. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of disappointing. Like, God, this is a zombie movie, man. I realize that's the kill zone. And yes, some of these characters, but every single shot's headshots, basically. Like, come on, man. There could have been some I don't know, some scenes where there was the thrill of they may not do this. There's a scene where obviously that was the case. They may not achieve their goal or whatever. In the vault, the bank vault, and I mean, our character gets in a fist fight with the fucking zombie, and the whole time I was thinking, like, the other guy could just shoot the zombie in the head this whole fucking time, and he doesn't interfere until the ass end of the fight. He had a clear headshot the whole fucking time. The guy's headshotting left and right, even though he couldn't even pick up a gun, and he didn't shoot the fucking zombie until, you know, it was too late. I don't know, man. I was like, oh man, what the? It was just weird, man. It's so weird because Snyder's so intent on details that I was like, how the fuck? I don't know, man. Maybe I'm tripping balls, but anyway.
Yeah, I think you're tripping.
I'm not tripping balls on that though. He could have shot that fucking zombie 50,000 times. But anyway,
they had run out of bullets, fool.
Nah, he had bullets.
No, that's why he fist fought.
The other guy had bullets.
No, they both run out.
He could have done anything with a fucking zombie.
They both didn't have bullets.
I don't care. He could have fucking headshotted that fucking zombie somehow.
And that was like the Uber zombie, and they were both like, shit, we're about to die.
Nah, boy. Anyway.
They just logic bombed your ass.
Nah, the scene doesn't work for me either way. But anyway, give me something else, man. Good or bad?
Oh yeah, there's like robots in this.
Is there?
Yeah, there's like a scene where like Bautista shoots a freaking zombie and he has like a freaking endoskeleton head.
Does he?
Yeah, did you see that?
No.
I thought I was tripping balls. You know how there's a couple of the zombies that have glowing eyes?
Mm-hmm.
It was one of those. He shoots it and there's a straight up like robot inside. And I was like, what? So that was weird. I have nothing to add other than there was a straight up robot in there.
So if that's supposed to be something we noticed, what the fuck was that?
I mean, it's very obvious that
Are you sure?
I mean, it looked like
That's what it was.
It looked like a straight up robot.
I saw the weird energy, but that's the energy that was in the little baby thing.
Nah, dude,
and then the alphas.
the skeleton inside, like you know how all the other ones were just blowing up with gore. This one didn't blow up with gore. It was like a straight up skeleton, and it was like a silver skeleton. Yes, I'm saying skeleton. And admittedly, I didn't nothing ruined before this, but I did see a freaking headline that said aliens, zombies, and robots. What are we missing? And I was like, oh crap! Did I just ruin something? So when I saw that, I was like, is that what they were talking about?
Well, I feel like you're not really missing anything because it's never fucking acknowledged or anything. So that's a thing that happened, I guess.
Yeah. So I don't know if that was just like a thing.
If that's a thing that happened and it's not explained, then I say it's a fucking problem. Because, like, what the fuck is that? If it's supposed to be some, like, cool little, like, haha, nudge, nudge, wink, wink moment, then cool. But what is it is the question. What the fuck?
Well, it's very obvious that there's plans for it because there's already 2 prequels planned that are coming.
Yeah, but it's no way to make a movie. You can't half-ass a movie and then be like, oh, it's going to be explained in that movie that's not made yet. You know what I'm saying? But to be fair, that's a hardly noticeable scene. But still, if that's a thing... what do I have to say about that? Robots?
Yeah, that was weird.
How does that happen? I don't know what to think about that now. You just added a new kink to my fucking wrinkled bag.
I think you're overly negative right now, guy.
Nah, there's so much problems in this movie. One of the fucking huge ones for me was the amount of time it takes for an infected to get infected. The beginning, we're shown that it's almost immediate. But when our main character gets it...
Isn't that always a thing in freaking zombie movies?
Yeah, but come on, guy. When our main character gets it, it takes a... Fine, that was fine, whatever. It took you gotta get that little dramatic scene in or whatever. That's fine. But then we have this extra fucking thing, this, like, mid-credit sequence, I guess. I mean, not really, because the credits hadn't even rolled yet, huh? No. It's there's a blank screen for a while, and then there's another scene where our character that ended up in the vaults... post-nuclear attack pops out of this I don't presumably he somehow got out of this vault even though it was locked on him. Now I guess you can open a vault from the inside, sure, but he was in the dark, so I guess it took him a while. Whatever, he got out, then he gets out and he's in a post-nuclear attack landscape, somehow doesn't die immediately from the fallout, makes it all the way across the desert, fucking rents a fucking plane, is all the way up in the air for God knows how long, then feels bad, and then he goes into a restroom, and then he's like, oh shit, somehow I didn't notice this bite. I was like, what the... you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm fine with playing a little elasticity with the infection time, but like, holy shit, how did this guy even survive a nuke attack? Or the fallout, I guess. He would be a fucking cancerous wreck by the time he reached one step. It was just, there's stuff like that, that's like, what the? Which is sad.
Well, it's very obviously not meant to be a freaking realistic movie, dude.
That's a big one, guy. Like, what the fuck?
You're punching holes in like a cartoon, basically.
Nah, that's a big one, man. For me, that's a big one. Like, come on. I don't care how cartoony your movie is. Holy shit.
There's literally a zombie with a cape walking around, and you're like, oh, that makes more.
That makes more sense to me than the Fallout.
Alien zombies, and you're like, oh, that's Fallout.
It's not an excuse for me to go like, come on, guy. Really? I think that's a huge oversight. And just in terms of general storytelling, like, come on, how this long, 1, 2, this whole thing. Fine, let's forgive the Fallout shit. That's cool. Other movies have done that shit, right? Sure. But the length of time for him to get infected is like insane comparatively to everything else. So I feel like you're brazenly playing with the rules at that point that you yourself have established. So there's moments like that really kind of like take me out of it, because there are moments in the movie that I absolutely fucking think kick ass. Again, the society of zombies is a cool fucking concept. I think they handle it pretty fucking well and introduce all these elements that are new and interesting to a genre that, to be honest with you, has been fucking beaten to a bloody pulp at this point. They introduce new, interesting ideas, just the whole idea that these are alien hybrid things, that there might be some sort of agenda there that we're not aware of. suggested by by what is going on, by the very idea that they want progeny and all that stuff. That's cool, man. The communication between them, the intelligence shown, the you know, the strata of zombie society. You know, those are just zombies that we don't give a shit about. Here are the alphas. Here are the ones that we do give a shit about for some reason.
Oh,
you know,
yeah,
all that stuff's interesting.
There's like gruesome dry zombies that when it rains.
I thought that was also something they should have shown. Like,
yeah, that would have been cool.
Why would you say that and not show it? That's
gross.
not a complaint. I'm just like, damn, that would have been awesome.
It was pretty gross to think of. And then there's like these like
the idea of like zombies hibernating.
Yeah,
that's all cool, man. That's super cool stuff that they've added to the idea and mythology of zombies.
Oh, horse zombies?
Yeah, animal zombification, all that stuff. I love that. I love that stuff in the movie. There's some great kills. The zombie tiger finally gets his. That's super cool looking. I do feel the zombie tiger should have done more, but when he does do something, it counts. That's super cool looking. Yeah, there's some good kills when everybody's not just headshotting everyone. There's occasionally interspersed some fucking cool ass kills. Tig, of course, is a big plus, as we've aforementioned.
Tig could have just stood there and it would have been good.
Yeah, really. Honestly, that's no joke. Tig's big in this. Dave Bautista is very likable. You know, he's a very likable character. I just feel that what they wrote for him in terms of his problems with his daughter, there was just something that didn't quite feel genuine about it or really worked for me.
I think it was fine with me because he is so likable. You know, like I think he like I bought him. You know what I mean? But I do agree that she was kind of like, I just want to punch her big ass eyes because she's just causing all these problems.
Yeah. He's like just a likable guy.
And you're like, come on, guy.
But even so, yeah. You know, I don't know. I don't want to retread on her, but the once they interact, you're just kind of like, what the fuck? It feels a little wedged in too, you know. And again, this, like I said earlier, this is a movie that you're sometimes like, is this what it's gonna become? I don't want to compare it to Venom because Venom's a piece of shit. Nah. But Venom had the same problem in this one regard. It's that it never decided what kind of movie it was, and this movie kind of does that. Is it this thing? Is it an action movie? Is it a comedy? Is it just a weird fucking like sci-fi horror mashup? Is it a drama movie? Is it? It never 100% commits to anything, and yet somehow 100% commits to everything. So that's why I think it doesn't 100% fail like Venom did in my eyes, because it does commit wholly to whatever the fuck madness it's throwing at you. It's just that some of that madness doesn't fucking work.
I think that's why ultimately I do like it, is that it's whatever it's doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right. Even though, yeah, I agree, some of it is like, that doesn't work, or that's kind of weird, or I don't know how I feel about that. You know, I can kind of look past some of it. Some of it's like that just kind of blows, you know, but at least it's doing it, you know. Whereas something like Venom, you're just like, what is this? You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's no comparison in any other regard. Venom just sucks. But...
I think that it's just kind of an interesting experiment. I think, like, when I was watching, I was like, this is weird. You know what I mean? And for a while I was like, I don't know if I like it, which was kind of a weird feeling for me. But ultimately I do like it. I do want to see it again.
I will say this, I don't know if you'll agree with this. Zack's renowned for his beautiful, picturesque directing, even with I guess edgier stuff like a zombie movie. You know, has a very unique look at the very least. Like his Dawn of the Dead looks very different to any other zombie movie. This one looks different too, but it's easily his ugliest movie. And granted, this is a fucking zombie movie, so it's not supposed to look beautiful. But it is ugly looking. Like, you know, it feels like his least polished movie in terms of how
Yeah,
much quality he usually puts
I
in terms of visuals.
I
On
agree. I
screen.
agree with that. It was his first. I believe it was his first that he was DP in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I agree. That's just something separate. I just wanted to mention that. But I agree that it does feel like the least. I don't want to say care because I mean I know he put a lot of care into it, but it
There's
does.
so many rough edges.
Yeah, it's a rough movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, and just knowing how he thinks and how he works, it's kind of strange. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like it's weird, and that's why I was kind of like when I was watching, I was like, this is I don't know how I feel about this. This is so unlike him.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, I ended up liking it because it is so weird. Like it feels like and this is gonna sound bad, but it feels like a first draft of something that he would think of,
Yeah.
you know, and in a weird way that's kind of interesting, like just throw something into a page and see how it comes out. Only he got funding for it and got someone to pay for it basically, and that's kind of an interesting thing to see. Um, I don't know if it's like a successful film, but it's a very interesting thing to see. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
If we were to compare his first zombie movie, Dawn of the Dead, to a Romero movie, I would say it's somewhere between Dawn of the Dead and Land of the Dead mixed together, and obviously through the eyes
yeah,
of a different director. This movie, I would say it's somewhere between. Uh, that's kind of a hard one. I'd say it's somewhere between Land of the Dead and Survival of the Dead,
mm-hmm.
because it's like it or not, Survival of the Dead had all these bizarre elements in it that did or didn't work for some people. And there it was, Hatfields versus McCoys on an island with zombies. And this one's heist movie in a secluded area with zombies. And there's weird comedy and there's weird new elements like in the case of Survival of the Dead, zombies forming a society, and then there's this riding zombie woman and all this shit. So this movie, in terms of the canon of Romero's movie, would land somewhere between Land of the Dead and fucking Survival of the Dead. It's weird. It has good shit, but it also has, stuff that clearly doesn't work, in my opinion. Anyway, I gotta say the music is always kind of like a big thing for Snyder and his movies. And in terms of the soundtrack choices, you're gonna get stuff here that obviously is like they're almost like Snyderisms now. You got the Dick Cheese, I'm sorry, Dick Cheese, Richard Cheese, which I guess is Dick Cheese, Richard Cheese, lounge cover. You got a fucking covers in general of renowned songs and stuff that add texture to certain movies. I mean, to certain scenes and stuff like that. The score proper, um, I'm not gonna say it even impressed me or anything. I didn't hate it. I was just like, okay, that's a thing.
I actually quite liked it. I was listening to it. I think it was pretty decent. It's not up to like the other junkie soundtracks, but it was pretty good.
I gotta listen to it like intently because I was too distracted by being like, what the was some of the stuff.
I was trying to make a point of actually listening to it, and I did enjoy it. But then again, you know, apparently I would suck Snyder's ass, so I don't know.
That's stuck in the poop shoe.
And I like junkies, so I can't. I don't know.
Yeah, junkies. You
I'm
like?
a junkie. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a thing.
It's not like instantly like, oh, that was badass. Like most of his other soundtracks, like
Yeah.
even his freaking Godzilla vs Kong soundtrack or score was good, and that
Yeah.
movie sucked my left nut.
There's some things that really pop out when you hear a good score, and there's nothing that really popped out here. I'm not saying it's a bad score. I'm just saying like upon first viewing, there's nothing popped out. But then again, upon first viewing of a lot of other stuff, I'd be like, oh, that's a great song or a theme or whatever the fuck. There was nothing here that popped out, but I don't know. Maybe that'll change. I was super distracted with the movie being kind of all over the place, and so that may be what was up with that right there. Anything else, man? You want to add? Good, bad, ugly.
I'm kind of has nothing to do with the current film.
Is it Tig related though?
No, Tig's great. Tig gets a 10.
You don't get it, Tig.
Tig's great.
Tig's my nope. Anyway.
God damn it. I'll give. Oh wait, what was I gonna say? I'm kind of confused with the plans of this thing going, because there's 2 prequels planned. One that's an animated prequel, and then one with a character from this movie, the Safecracker, which in this movie has like no experience with zombies. So that's gonna be a movie.
Interesting.
It's a very strange what they're doing with this. I mean, I'm interested. I want to see what happens. And it's gonna be directed by the actor, and yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It's an interesting thing that's happening.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about that. That's a thing. Yeah, I don't know what do you even say to that. In case you haven't seen the movie, that guy dies.
That guy's super. Well, it's a prequel.
Well, I know.
Yeah.
So there's no post material they can draw on.
Yeah.
In like a flashback sequence, like if it starts in after the movie, but then flashes back. There's nothing they could draw on there, and there's definitely nothing in terms of the character that they could draw on before.
He's just a guy that has no experience with zombies.
He's also, by the way, kind of like the most grating character, if we're gonna go on somebody being annoying, besides the daughter. Like, yeah, he's kind of like comic relief, and all he does is scream.
Yeah, he kind of didn't work for me, and I could totally see him working. Is the weird thing, like if Flula had played him. Flula Borg, guy.
What about if like Chris Tucker had played him? He's Chris Tucker-ish.
Who else? Chris Tucker.
Chris Tucker? You know what Chris Tucker is?
Chris Tucker.
It's Chris Tucker.
I heard Chris Tucker. Well, Chris Tucker's not German.
He didn't have to be German. He could just be Chris Tucker.
Chris Tucker shouldn't be. He's too old.
I'm saying a Chris Tucker-like character. Chris Tucker in his prime. He's basically fucking, what's his face from Fifth Element?
Ruby Rod?
Screaming and shit.
Yeah, but I can't buy Ruby Rod being a safecracker.
Dude, Ruby Rod safe cracks with that motherfucking cone in his head.
Nah, he should have been Flula Borg.
Ian Holmes should have been up.
Ian Holmes, yeah, his classic roles.
Oh, man.
Look at freaking Ian Holmes' filmography, guy. You're gonna be disappointed.
Yeah. Anyway, besides Ian Holmes, anything else we should talk about in this picture? If you're mad excited about that zombie tiger, just be prepared for it. He only really does one thing in the whole movie.
He does get a good mauling, though.
Oh, the effects. Let's talk about the effects. They largely are functional. They look good. The zombies look good. Don't get me wrong. They look good. I will say that some of the zombie actors, that also felt like...
Some of them are kind of corny.
Shit. Yeah, they're bad.
There's obviously there are runners. Like, as we know, Zack Snyder has a thing for runners in zombies. Oh, here's something that we can now put to concrete fact. Mm-hmm. Zack Snyder likes fast zombies. Mm-hmm. Zack Snyder likes Richard Cheese.
Yeah.
And Zack Snyder loves baby zombies.
He loves baby zombies.
What is that?
Yeah. It's a thing, I guess.
What is that?
Here though, I didn't like the baby zombie scene in his Dawn
that
of the
was
Dead,
whack.
But I liked the implications.
Yeah, that was kind of interesting.
Of the zombie baby thing here, but definitely like zombie babies is what we're getting at. Yeah, man.
Where were we going before that?
I don't know. Zombie
the
babies.
effects.
Oh, the effects.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, these are runner zombies, but they're like in the back. Not even in the background. Sometimes you just see them running in the front. You'll see these homies like jump on cars and shit, and they'll do like these weird like little whack moves.
There's also some that are like extremely careful when they're doing their zombie thing. Everybody knows that zombie actors will show up to be zombies any damn day of the week. And granted, these are more, I guess, stunt-heavy zombies. I don't know if that's why, but some of these zombies, if you really look at the zombies, some are like, what the fuck is that guy doing?
Some of them are corny,
so I guess don't look at the zombies too much.
It's
somehow.
I can kind of forgive it, but if you notice it, you'll start noticing like really corny-ass zombies in the background. There was one with like this hair. I don't know if it was like a hair piece or if it was just this guy's normal hair, but he had like short hair, but his hair looked super puffy. And he like kept jumping up on tables and going like this, and every time he would do that, his hair would bunch up. and it just looked whack. Okay, I was like, God, dude, don't stop doing that.
Yeah.
Um,
That ain't cool.
no, those chickens ain't cool.
There's like some effects, related stunt stuff that kind of like you're like, man, that's the shot you picked. Dave Bautista is revealed that he had to kill his wife early on in the movie, and the way he stabs her in the head, and there's just something about the way he stabs her that you're like, that's not how a knife would go into a head. It's literally like him going. There's no like, no crunch. He's just like,
I don't know, homie. Knives go through heads through butter, like that sentence.
Yep, it's a good sentence.
Yeah.
About as good as this stab.
Yeah, it was a good stab.
Yeah, that stab didn't work.
Also, Bautista has like a weird in pain face.
Oh yeah, he does have a weird in pain face.
I mean, they couldn't really do much about that, but yeah, like
it's his face. What are you gonna do?
Face,
Chop it off?
He has a couple scenes where he's like sad, and you're like, whoa.
What is that?
That's a weird face. But he's really likable. I like Bautista.
Yeah. I feel kind of like his character got shortchanged really or something. Did, yeah. Like there clearly is an interesting thing there. It's just definitely not what we got for the most part with his storyline. Not necessarily him. You know, he almost feels like a Stephen King character, like Barbie in Under the Dome, who is not a Barbie doll, by the way, but only in this situation. I don't know, man.
Tig's there.
Tig's definitely great.
I'm glad Chris isn't.
Tig is a comic relief that probably would have hated if it was Chris D'Elia. Not because I hated Chris D'Elia's comedy or anything. It's just Tig makes everything better. Tig, yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. There's also this little thing where they have a character that's kind of like he made his name by via social media while he was in Las Vegas. And they never touch up on that again. I feel like, they do. They're like, he's taking selfies at first with the zombies and shit like that. That would have been a cool little through line that says something about something, you know? I don't know. But anyway, back to effects. Some effects are really cool. Some of them are a mishmash of CG and physical effects. There's a part where a zombie gets squashed in between these two walls, which, by the way, that sequence also kind of bugged me, but whatever. It was, safe cracking traps sequence was
kind of corny.
Mad corny, but okay. But somebody gets squashed in between these things, and you know the pieces of stone that squash them, I guess, pull apart, and it's very clearly like a CGI enhanced effect, or if not outright completely CGI. Although I think it's enhanced because later there's just an effect there. Physical one, and it didn't quite hit the mark, you know, but whatever, it works fine. There's a
lot of enhancing. Like, I know apparently they actually had a tiger on set.
The tiger is a cool effect
with makeup, apparently. And the horse apparently was an actual.
Yeah, the tiger and the horse look awesome, even though
obviously they're enhanced,
very much a CGI enhanced effect. They just look fucking awesome.
Yeah, they look cool.
And I really like what is he credited as? Zeus, I think, the alpha zombie leader. He's cool, man. I think that idea is fucking cool. Even though it's really weird to see.
It is. Cape zombie.
You know,
Tig is like, is that a freaking cape zombie?
Yeah. I think, see, like, that's good comedy in terms of. And there's just some stuff like, again, that fault sequence where some of the comedy there just didn't work. It's mad corny guy. Yeah, you know. I guess you take the good, you take the bad, the facts of life. Anyway, what else, man?
I like that super gay, like Liberace ass dude.
I wanted to see more of that guy.
I wish he was a character, dude.
I would have totally seen the whole movie about gay Liberace guy.
Yeah.
Was he supposed to be actual Liberace? I mean, he's dead.
Like how he was a live guy.
Well, shit, man. It's Liberace.
No one touched
him. Did he
him.
ever die?
No one touched him, dude.
They were like, nope. Not touching that. Bip. There's a smuggler character in this that again is kind of like, I guess if we're talking about some thematics being pulled through the movie, I guess she's kind of like the closest, because she has issues with the gray area of what she's doing or whatever, but really no. It's revealed that and this is a cool reveal for the zombies, but ultimately a questionable one all around. It's revealed that because of this zombie hierarchy, basically the alpha zombies, the smart ones, the ones that really run in the show, if you will, have to be given an offering of kind of like acquiescence to their power. So this, of course, suggests that every time she's come in, she's killed someone. And that brings up a whole slew of questions for her character. And granted, again, they actually pulled through with that. Like, she has guilt. And ultimately that plays into that confusing exchange where I guess she was helping the bad guy. Oh, she made a deal somewhere along the way with this bad guy that's very thinly explained by some dialogue. Yeah, it's just kind of like, okay. That's kind of problematic in terms of the story because now what the fuck does that mean? Killed all... You can only have so many bad guys you take in and kill that want to go in. Most of the people that want to go in just want to go in to get something important to them, like family or whatever the fuck. Or whatever, money to get the fuck out of the internment camp or what have you. Weird. But there's a lot of moments like that in this movie that kind of just leave lingering questions and you're kind of like, okay, that's a thing that happened. Cool. Yeah, man. What do you think of the ending? Like overall, Bautista, the other ending, Sting ending, I guess.
I'm okay with the Bautista thing. I mean, I don't like the Bautista die because he was the only character I didn't want to die.
Yeah. I agree with that.
But I mean, I get what it was trying to say, with the whole don't take your loved ones for granted or whatever type of thing. I feel like they could have done it in a less annoying, don't want to punch that kid kind of way, or girl kind of way. But, it was kind of effective for me or whatever. I do agree that the black guy ending was like, come on, guy.
Yeah, it's...
incredulous. I'll even say, all right, I'll bite the freaking Fallout, whatever.
Look.
Though, really, come on, guy. But, yeah, I agree. That homie lived way too long.
That homie lived 7 lives before he was like, zombie bite?
I'll even say that maybe the bite doesn't freaking take effect until you die or some shit. Because, they do show people being alive or not turning until they die. But come on, guy.
Yeah.
That's super long.
That bite was mad long. Long ass bite, if you will.
Like, you can't be doing all that shit and not even feel the bite up until you're up there. You know what I mean?
I think the final confrontation between Zeus, I guess, the head zombie, and the action of it all, like there's a whole helicopter sequence and stuff like that. It's pretty rad, man. It's pretty cool. Almost made me forget some of the glaring issues in the movie. And then they followed it up with that long bite sequence. And I was like, long bite. That bite is so long! It was like a horse bite.
I do think that the final, the final, third is really entertaining, I actually wasn't bored or anything. I
wasn't bored either.
I didn't find...
I just think it's paced weird.
I agree, it's paced weird, but I was never hurry up or anything, or this sucks or whatever. I was actually kind of this is interesting, this is kind of weird. There is parts where I could see it being a little all right, this could be a little quicker, but I was never annoyed by the pacing, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I agree with that.
But yeah, it is something you notice. This is kind of it's a strange pacing.
You know why it's strange? Because again, it's what is suggested. All these dudes arming up and you're like, okay, this is what we're gonna see next, and then you don't ever see that.
You get kind of a standard build up the tension type of sequences for a lot of it, or people talking for a lot of it. Which I didn't mind. I was entertained by what was going on. It was just, I agree that the suggestion maybe is part of it. I saw people calling it boring. I was never bored.
Yeah, I wasn't bored.
But the action that's there is really cool. So yeah, I don't know. But I agree that it is a strange pacing. It's strangely paced.
I think
it's kind of what I mentioned in and don't get me wrong, I'm not comparing the two, but it's kind of what I mentioned with the Justice League Snyder cut of Justice League, in that because it is such a long cut of it where you spend time with characters that you start noticing that stuff isn't happening in the time that you think it would in the movie. You kind of get that in this, only it's not as well done, so it feels weird. You know what I mean? It feels even like weirder. Like you just get longer periods of.
I think I didn't so much mind that. It is a thing, but I didn't think I so much minded that. I actually kind of.
No. It's great in that cut.
What I did mind here is that when you do get your action spurts, it's just headshots. Holy shit! It's just tons of headshots, man. There were so many moments where cool zombie shit could have happened, and they're so rare. It's just like standard, like, oh, he shot a zombie. Okay, cool. And now they're moving on to the next room. Oh, there's a zombie there. But there's some cool shit. Like, I think the hibernating zombie sequence was cool. It wasn't intense or anything like that, but it was cool because of who ultimately was put into the crosshairs there. This Chola-like character, which, if I remember correctly, had like the whitest name ever. I think he did. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was like mad white name. But anyway, clearly Mexican chick looking ass, you know. But anyway, the point is, that was really cool. But then, you know, then there was just a bunch of headshots until the next cool moment, you know, whatever the fuck. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, ultimately, yes, the you know, weirdly paced.
Yeah.
And not necessarily helped. I think that pace is no problem if everything is cool and working.
Yeah,
or the bulk of it is working. Like Justice
League, yeah.
But since there's things in here that are clearly not clicking and clearly not working,
it becomes something you notice. Yeah,
it becomes very noticeable. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Like the only reason I noticed it in Justice League is because it is a 4-hour movie. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's a movie that's 4 freaking hours long, so you're kind of like, man, I haven't seen Steppenwolf in like an hour. That's kind of an interesting thing. But you don't. It's not a bad thing. You just notice it, you know, like in the back of your head.
Yeah.
Whereas here, you're like, man, I haven't seen a zombie in like 30 minutes. That's kind of weird.
Also, here, as aforementioned, sometimes you're like, oh, I haven't seen that. Oh, that character's doing that now. Okay. The only time I think it works is with the daughter that leaves because clearly she was gonna leave.
Oh yeah, she was super.
But again, I go back to that. Oh, these characters are I guess we're making this deal now.
Yeah, that was super so weird. Abrupt. Yeah, that was super weird. I agree with that one. I even was like, did I miss something? Like,
yeah, dude.
They freaking
I thought it was me too. That's why I went and checked.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck did I miss? A massive piece. Yeah, he definitely doesn't tell him go make this deal.
Yeah, because there's like a scene before that where he like tells people to do stuff. So I assumed he told them to do that, but then I was like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, he told them to go guard the perimeter, and then all of a sudden these characters that hate each other and are at odds with each other, and one of them's working clearly for the man, and the other one's the smuggler chick.
Unless we missed something in some mini dialogue earlier on, but I doubt it.
We didn't. She does mention it later, but what good is it afterwards?
Yeah, I know later.
I mean, you can mention it later and it still works, but the scene just doesn't. It's just like, what? The whole time I was like,
yeah,
what the fuck?
It made sense later when she mentioned it, but in the moment you're like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, why? I was like, why would she agree to this? Yeah. Huh? You know, it didn't even make sense in terms of the deal. Like, just what the fuck? It was a weird scene, man. But yeah, that's a thing. Anyway, unless you have something else to add, give us, or I guess you can in the final thoughts. Final thoughts, score on a scale of 1 to 10. The apparently controversial to us, though apparently more people love this Snyder movie than any other movie.
Yeah, I don't know.
So we're backwards, I guess, in terms of the popular opinions of Snyderisms. Of Snyder movies, I'm sorry. What's I
gotta give Tig a 10.
Tig gets a 10 herself.
Just the fact that Chris D'Elia got deleted from a film gets it a 10. Tig, I mean.
I'm not even trying to hate on Chris D'Elia. People make mistakes, or I don't know how grievous his were, but you know, whatever. That's to be resolved. I'm just glad Tig's in this.
Yeah, Tig.
They took the time to digitally add Tig.
Yeah.
They tagged Tig into it.
Every movie should digitally add Tig into it.
Yeah.
Batman should be Tig.
Just the Tig mouth.
Tig man.
But it's still Ben Affleck, everything else. Damn, horrible.
We bring back Michael Keaton.
All right, Tig aside.
Tig, there should be a cut, the Tig cut, where everybody's replaced with Tig.
Damn,
every zombie and everything.
Hordes of Tigs.
Yeah, that's my band name. Anyway, you can buy the Hordes of Tigs LP at the shop.
I hear Logan is gonna be the singer.
Yeah. I got nothing to add to that one. Just yeah. Anyway,
Most people are gonna be like, Wolverine?
yeah. What's his name? Hugh Jackman?
Yeah,
Huge jacked man. Huge Jackman is not in this, but a huge jacked man is in this, and Dave Bautista, and he's probably the best part in this, as in the character.
Yeah.
I'm trying to bring it around full circle.
It's not working.
It's really not working. The biggest circle in this room is me, though. so there's that. I'm kind of conflicted. I'm gonna have to rewatch this boy. I do like what it is, but I don't think it's a particularly good movie. I think it's Snyder's worst for sure. Like not even close. You know what I mean? Like it's a turd compared to his other movies. I'm gonna go down the middle. I'm gonna give it a 5.
I'm gonna play that 5 fiddle too,
I'm
boy.
gonna give it a 5. The thing is, I liked a lot of it, and there's a lot to like, but there is also some kind of poop in there. I'm gonna leave like room for it to go up maybe, but I'm gonna just play it safer now and say a 5. Tig gets 10 though.
Yeah, I'm on the same fucking thing, and really the only reason it's getting a 5 is because I'm hoping that upon reviewing, it gets better. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt because I have largely liked all of Zack Snyder's films, and like you said, compared to those, this one's poop, utter feek. Like it's on the shoe of his other films.
Yeah,
it just sucks compared to those other movies. I mean that's just facts for me, but of course, facts for me is just my opinion. So what good is that fucking sentence? Not good at all.
yeah,
but also not good sentences. A lot of dialogue in this fucking movie between people was pretty incredulous. Some of the situations were just too incredulous, even for a zombie romp, which arguably sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't. Hence a problem. There's too many problems here. There's too many contrasting things in this movie that
like
don't mix.
Like I said, it feels like a first draft, just that he got funding for. It's kind of weird.
It feels like what a Netflix movie would be.
Yeah.
Not great. Not cinematic level quality. You know? It feels like that. And I'm kind of sad to say that because I do like Zack Snyder. I'm not a Zack hater. I have enjoyed all his films. And it's shocking for me to say that the Legend of the Guardians, a.k.a. the Owls of Ga'Hoole,
I haven't seen that.
is leagues better than this. So that's a thing.
Yeah.
That being said, I do like a lot of the zombie elements they bring in. Ideas and concepts, weird as they are. There's moments in the movie that really work.
See, that's the thing. That's why I'm leaving kind of an open for it to go higher, because I do like all that stuff a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and I do think that that'll grow on me quite a bit. But I can't ignore some of the poop.
What I have a doubt is that even if some of the stuff that I like might grow on me, some of the stuff that I don't like, I can't see it growing on me. Some of it, like, holy shit, there's some stuff in here that's like, woof. And I mentioned what that stuff was. No reason to repeat that. But hopefully it does. But as of now, I got to put it down the middle. Realistically, if I didn't want to give it the benefit of the doubt in another shot, I'd give it more like a 3 or a 4. Though, again, entertaining, never bored, all that stuff, just too many flaws in it. You can give something that low a score and still like it, oddly enough. And this is one of those rare cases, but, you know...
yeah, I would still buy this.
You know, yeah, definitely. You know, but... Yeah,
like
weird.
Weirdly, I'm really entertained. I still actually would say I really like it. It's just, if I'm being honest, it's not a really good movie.
Yeah,
you know?
it's a reeker, as some zombies are called in other zombie media. But yeah, anyway, that's our thoughts, our very long-winded thoughts, our discussion, if you will, our heartbreaking realization that our boy has failed us. But I guess we're kind of happy because other people are going, yeah, I like him now. So
although apparently it started to get review bombed now.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Typical Snyder behavior. So.
Yeah.
or anti-Snyder-ite behavior, so that's the thing. Whatever. The point is, wish I would have loved it. Did not. We'll see if time and a second viewing gives it a little more love.
Hope he's happy.
Yeah.
So that's all I can say.
Yeah. But anyway, let us know what you think
No,
about
I'm serious.
this.
That sounded mean, but I'm actually serious, man.
No, that was a whoop towards the bad parts of the movie.
Like this homie was getting shit on by a studio. At least he did something he wanted to do. Did I like it? Not really.
It's true.
But he did his thing.
That is true. Man, deserves a little happiness.
Yep.
Seems like such a nice guy.
He really
People
does.
really shit on him all the time.
Everybody works with him, loves him.
Yes. Anyway, I could have worked on him on this, and I would have said this movie's not good, bro. But I love you.
Yeah.
Anyway,
suck your nut.
But let us know what you think about this movie. If you've seen it. In the meantime, hit like, share, subscribe, and notification buttons because we're out.